Hey there, my name is Anthony Romano, and in this video I'm going to tell you very quickly about why keto fails. And basically, if it didn't work for you the first time, this is why and how to improve on that. So if you've ever done a ketogenic diet before and it didn't work out for you, then this video should give you some insight, or maybe if you have a friend who didn't enjoy it, this could also be some insights for them. Overall, there's plenty of ways to diet, but my favorite one is absolutely the ketogenic diet. When it comes to why it doesn't work for people, there's several reasons why, but I'm going to go over some common misbeliefs, okay? Common misbeliefs are that you need to eat shitloads of fat, you need to always be in deep ketosis, and that means more fat loss, and you can eat your carbs as long as they're under 50 grams a day. So that's the three stems for most of the problems. I'm going to dive into this, okay? So the original ketogenic diet, as I've said many times before, comes from studies done in the early 1900s on epileptic children who basically cured their epilepsy by being in deeper ketosis. So this meant lots of fasting and lots of high-fat keto meals with no carbs. To be in ketosis, all you need to do is eliminate carbs. From there, the amount of fats you have can increase the deepness of your ketosis. Is this better for fat loss? Not necessarily, because the amount of ketones you have doesn't necessarily mean more fat loss. It does mean you'll perform better and feel better, but that doesn't inherently mean more fat loss. In fact, it might mean that you're getting higher ketones because you're eating more food, and that food is being converted into ketones, not necessarily your body. So, although it will improve performance, it's not necessarily something you need to shoot for. You need to focus more so on eliminating those carbs. That is the problem that prevents a lot of people. Additionally, people don't avoid those carbs and they focus more on eating fat. So it typically ends up looking like somebody saying, oh, I ate, 80% fat and no carbs, and what happened? And I say, okay, what carbs were you eating, right? Like, oh, the only carbs I was eating were, had some apple, some fruit, vegetables. Oh, whoa. The only carbs you should be eating are vegetables. Besides that, fruits are a big no-no. Sometimes I have people who even say they were eating 50 grams a day, but that 50 grams came from a bowl of oatmeal. When it comes to your 50 gram a day carbohydrate restriction requirement, these carbs should be all coming from green vegetables. There's basically no room for any fruits because the type of sugar in fruits immediately kicks you out of ketosis. It's called fructose. And any starchy carb is off the table completely because they're so glycemically dense in sugar that they kick you out of ketosis and basically keep you there. So you can't be getting your carbs from pasta, rice, oatmeal. You can't be doing this. There are variants of the ketogenic diet for sports performance called the targeted ketogenic diet and the cyclical ketogenic diet. And there's proper ways to use carbs on those diets, and I have videos on them. However, you can't even consider those diets until you're at least a month into keto. And really, therefore, intuitively decided athletic performance, where example, you're deciding, okay, I'm going to have small amounts of carbs on a certain day. It's very ad hoc and random and spontaneous with your carb consumption based around certain workouts. So that's topic for another video, which I have on my page somewhere. But if you're new or it didn't work for you, those aren't even on the table. So getting your carbs from anything besides greens is a problem. I have people who really like fruit and they're telling me, oh, I'm eating all these fats. I'm told to eat all these high fats. You don't need to eat high fats. You just need to cut out the carbs. And high fats are only a byproduct of not eating carbs. So it ends up looking like a lot of people who are on keto eat high fats, but they don't necessarily need to do that. Marketers like to take advantage of this because then it makes it easier for them to sell you keto products. It makes it easier for them to say, oh, eat more fats and it's proven to increase your ketosis. Well, yeah, because on the studies they did, they basically gave those fats to somebody who's in ketosis and their food produced those extra ketones. It doesn't mean that you can eat, I had people who talk to me and say, I start off every day with a fruit smoothie and I get and then the rest of the day I'm eating high fats. And I said, no. You have to cut, there's no fruits. There's no room for fruits. Even if it's a natural sugar source or a natural carb source, this is not possible. So if that was your problem, If that was your problem, then eliminate that, okay? If your problem was from hidden carbs or any sort of thing that results from getting not getting into ketosis due to not properly restricting your carbs, then in that case, yes, you need to go back and try it again with the full carbohydrate restriction. This will make things a lot easier, and from there, you can eat all the fats you want. That'll keep you full, it'll keep you happy, and you'll feel good, perform well in the gym, all that, okay? People are afraid of eating too much protein, and they think, oh no, I was eating too much protein, I wasn't in ketosis. No, it won't kick you out of ketosis if you're doing it properly. So I have a video on whey protein on keto, maybe that's even how you got here, but whey protein basically on its own in the fasted state will raise your insulin and kick you out of ketosis. Eating anything will raise your insulin and probably diminish your ketosis, but there's certain ways to get your protein in by mixing macronutrients at certain meals so it diminishes the insulin response and keeps your ketosis more intact. So when it comes to why it didn't work for you, it could be from hidden carbs, whether in plain sight or not in plain sight. So what I mean by that is whether from natural sugars like fruits or from, you just made a mistake and got your 50 grams from pasta, or so not making the jump, or you're focusing too much on the fats instead of the lack of carbs, again with that same point, or additionally you weren't counting calories. So that is the last one. I often say to people, you don't need to count calories on keto. However, if you do want to count calories on keto, you will absolutely get the best results. The more precise you are, the more precise your results are going to be, and the more amplified they're going to be no matter what you do in life. And if you count your calories and go keto, that is absolutely my favorite way to do a fat loss diet. If somebody was snacking on handfuls of almonds every day, it's very easy to overeat fat sources because they're so high in calories. However, one thing I always say is that the more energy a macronutrient has per gram, the better of a fuel source it is. So example of 1 gram of fat is 9 calories and 1 gram of carb is 4 calories. It makes you realize that fat is literally double the energy source and more of carbohydrates. So the double-edged sword of that is don't be grabbing handfuls of almonds because it's going to make you go over your calories and prevent weight loss. Going over your calories, because they are a huge driver of fat loss, is important. If a lot of the books I've read have claimed that, there's a lot of fat loss being influenced by insulin and by total calories. That's the two camps really of a lot of fat loss theories nowadays. And perhaps it's one or the other, but there's this interplay between the two of them, because when you go keto, you're reducing your insulin significantly. However, when you go from a carb calorie-based diet, you're also dropping your insulin due to the fact that you're consuming less food total. So there is this role of insulin, there is this role of calories in both camps. If you're doing a diet that inherently restricts your insulin, like keto, you still have to keep in mind your total calories. But if you're doing a diet that has carbs, you're still going to be reducing your insulin just due to the fact that you're reducing the overall volume of food and energy you're consuming. So that's more of a theoretical point, but overall, why keto didn't work for you is probably one of those reasons. If you don't want to go back to it, that's totally cool. You do what you got to do. You live your life. You're independent. Anyways, if you want to make it a lot easier, buy some exogenous ketones. Make things a lot easier in the beginning and reduce cravings and all that, and make it a lot easier to get through the first 3 days where it's hard to adapt. But if you were looking to get into keto, I also have a 60-day keto transformation challenge, which you can enter for free and possibly win some prizes and use my free training plan and meal plan, which are in the description. So hopefully this gave you some insight as to why keto didn't work for you beforehand or why it fails for other people. But if there's anything I can answer for you personally, leave it in the comments and I will get back to you. I answer every single person. So thank you for watching. My name is Anthony Romano. Peace.